Hello, it's Doug from Behind Closed Doors, and today I'm poorly. I'm very, very poorly, but I'm still making a video because I'm a living legend and I get on with it. Today I'm looking at a video called Beginner's Guide to Daygame, and this is by the Black Sheep Bandit, formerly known as Torero. Let's get into the video.
Torero's Beginner's Guide to Daygame. The art and the craft of chatting up girls during the day. We call it daygame or street hustling. You're not going to watch me do it for a change. You're going to watch two students that
I don't think it's an art and a craft. I think that this whole idea of game, it makes you believe that you need to learn something, or you need to do something, or that you need to attain a certain social skill in order to get something. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's more about removing things to be more honest. And I think honesty is the opposite of game. And I think if you can just go up to people and be honest, then that in itself is kind of like a revolutionary act.
We're going to watch two students that I took out into central London for 2 days to learn the street hustle Torero toolkit, how to talk to girls, how to chat up girls, how to flirt with girls during the day. No bars, no nightclubs, no...
I've never really understood flirting. I've never really been much of a flirter, but it hasn't really affected my dating life much.
Tinder, no online dating. This is just stopping women in the day, letting them know what you want, taking their phone number or taking them there and then on a date. So first of all, let's introduce the two students.
You see, I do like the directness of that. I do like the ethos of the day game, and I think that Torero is one of the guys that's very sort of like relatable as like a pickup artist. Do you know what I mean? He's not dressing up as a clown or anything. He's just being he's just being a normal guy going up to a girl in the street and just asking for a phone number. So I do like that.
First of all, let's introduce the two students. Charlie, who's 21 years old. He's from Brighton in the south of England. And Kevin, who's 45 years old, and he's a proper Londoner.
My name is Charlie. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Brighton. I just finished studying music in Brighton as well. Yeah, so I just came down London for the weekend to do some practice, hopefully. Pretty much through social circles, or like clubbing or things like that, really.
Bless him, he looks a little bit nervous. He's got a bit of an awkward disposition, bless him. Yeah, so yeah, good luck to Charlie, because he's, you know, it takes a lot of courage to do something that you're afraid of.
Not properly, no. I've never cold approached before in my life, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got some balls.
Well, I think that if you do it this way, it's if you mess up, you can just start again, really. If you're in a social circle, it's harder to sort of keep something going, and there's more pressure to do that.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, daygame is basically, as far as I'm aware, is just going up to girls that you fancy in the street and asking them out on a date, and sometimes doing like an instant date, sort of like taking them out for a coffee then and there to get to know them. And if they're busy, get their number and take them out some other time. So it's kind of like, it's just going in, you know. So I do like the whole concept of daygame because it fits in with the whole honesty that I try and promote. I just don't like the idea of the word game.
Pretty nervous, to be fair, but it's expected, I suppose. Yeah. Also quite excited, actually. But...
Yeah, my name's Kevin. I'm 45 years old, from London. I'm a sound engineer.
You're from London? Oh, he's a proper Londoner, isn't he? I like Kevin. He's got a very kind of like, I don't know, Londoner vibe to him. I'm less London, I'm more kind of plastic cockney myself.
Not working at the moment, took some time off. Through social circles, online dating, stuff like that.
Kevin has a very soothing voice. He seems a lot more chill about the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm feeling very, very anxious. Probably 95% out of 100.
Oh, well, he's hiding it very well.
Obviously to date women and stuff, but really just to be more social in general, just to overcome that have social anxiety. This is the most socially anxious thing.
Yeah, and he seems like quite a confident guy and like a Londoner and all that kind of stuff. And it's, you know, he's very chill and everything. And even like you wouldn't think to look at him that, you know, he, you know, has a certain degree of social anxiety where he needs this training. So, you know, it's not, you know, you shouldn't always judge a book by its cover. He seems like a cool, calm, collective guy. But, you know, even he's a bit nervous about going up to people. Again, hats off to him. You know, it takes a lot to put yourself on camera and do something for the first time, especially something as bold as going up to women in the street and asking them out on a date.
Socially anxious thing, I think you can do, approaching someone on the street.
Okay, you can see how nervous they are, and that's completely normal. You're going to be nervous if you're a beginner. You've got what we call approach anxiety. You're full of adrenaline, you're sweating, hyperventilating, your heart's going. You think you're bothering the girl. You think people are watching you.
And I think that women don't appreciate this that much, and other guys are too egotistical to admit it. But it, you know, when you go up to somebody that you fancy and you know, stand getting rejected, then you do get nervous and anxious.
Feel like this is not normal. You're in your head, you're stifled after a day of work. So rather than jumping into the Daygame model, the Street Hustle Toolkit, I took Charlie and Kevin, along with another instructor and a cameraman called Craig. We took them out to do some hit and runs, and I would recommend you do this at the beginning of every session. You're going to go.
There's an anxiety that women experience when they have sex with someone for the first time, which is called, oh, what do they call it? Last minute resistance or something like that. So men tend to feel an anxiety upon approaching the woman, but then after that, they're not so bad. And women have more of an anxiety just before sex. So the anxiety that they experience just before sex, or the nervousness, is probably the same as what the guys feel upon approaching a girl and just starting a conversation.
Go up to 3, 4, 5 girls you don't know. Doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter how old they are. And you're going to make their day in a very human way. You're going to focus on eye contact, sparkling eyes, a cheeky smirk, a low, slow voice. Make sure she knows what you want. You're going to say to her,
sparkling eyes, a low, slow voice. Hopefully this is good day game. Shit, I forgot the cheeky smile.
that she looks nice, and you're going to finish with, have a nice day. That's just to loosen all your muscles, mental and physical, get you in the groove. And usually after 3, 4 or 5, the student is...
It's probably a good thing to note here that I used to be a magician, and that mostly involved walking around to groups of people and starting conversations. And I had like 3 minutes to get in there, impress them and leave them wanting more. And that was all types of different people. And that was my job, I got paid to do it. So I don't really have much of an anxiety about approaching strangers in the street and starting a conversation.
It's ready to go. Anyway, you can watch Charlie and Kevin doing some hit and runs.
Excuse me, just wanted to say you look really nice. Right, have a nice day, yeah? Alright, bye-bye.
Well, that was a bit random, but it was sweet, wasn't it? What's wrong with that?
Hi, excuse me. I just wanted to say you look really nice today. Sorry, I speak too fast. I just wanted to say you look really nice today. I was just complimenting people randomly. Have a nice day.
That was a little bit more awkward.
Okay, the hit and run's done, and already you can see how quickly they're talking, how the nerves are still there, the adrenaline and anxiety is still there. Basics go out the window, like posture and eye contact, making sure she knows what you want. That's very normal for a beginner, even for somebody who's been doing it a long time. I always say the first one's the worst one, so get it out the way as quickly as you can.
You see, it seems kind of like a numbers game. Well, I don't know if you can hear that aeroplane or not, or have I got a helicopter above me? Oh, what's that? I'm always getting transport outside my window, aren't I?
Now, we're going to explain the Daygame model. We call it the London Daygame model because it evolved in London between 2010 and perhaps 2013.
Yeah, it's the London Daygame model.
A group of very active, dedicated daygamers tried and
Oh, they're very active.
tested in field, that means on the street, different structures, different ways of carrying on the conversation after giving the compliment.
Sounds like a chess game.
Instead of just hoping for the best and being yourself, we came up with scaffolding. We saw what worked and what didn't work, and we broke it down into 5 steps. So before I teach you and
5 steps. You see, I don't think I'm going to like this already because that's a lot to remember for me. I've got a terrible memory.
Showed the students the 5 steps, it's worth having a look at what happens if you have no structure. If you're just relying on winging it, hoping for the best, being yourself, trying to be spontaneous from the very beginning. It's a bit like just...
The structure that I'd use is go in and pay a compliment, ask if they're single. If they're not single, see if they want to go out on a date. If they want to go out on a date, take their phone number and call them sometime. So that's about 4 or 5 steps. So I suppose there is structure even in the most basic things.
From the very beginning, it's a bit like just getting into a car and the driving instructor says, off you go, good luck, where you've never driven before. Or stepping into the boxing ring and your coach just saying, do your best, good luck, there is no structure, there is no technique. Try your best against an opponent who's been fighting and training with structure for years. So watch Charlie and Kevin going up and talking to some girls without any structure, without any plan, and let's spot some of the common student mistakes.
Sorry, excuse me. I just saw you and I thought you looked very nice, so I had to come and say hello.
That didn't go too well, did it?
Are you British?
Are you in London for tourist?
No, I live in London.
Okay.
Questions of doom.
So, from like Warsaw?
I live here, but yeah, I was born in...
Okay.
Not in Warsaw, but I live in Warsaw.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Working.
Oh, you work?
Yeah.
How long have you been working in London?
2 years.
2 years, long time.
Good.
Anyway.
Good weather.
Yeah.
Not raining.
I mean, it was very sunny earlier, but now it's kind of,
Well, you know, it's kind of...
yeah.
It will get better.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They don't know what to talk about, do they?
Okay, look, you have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah?
You too.
Enjoy your coffee.
Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Anyway, I gotta go. Nice to meet you. Have a nice day.
Okay, those interactions were typical. If you watch guys who follow no structure as beginners, or if you try it yourself without following the advice in this video, that's what will happen. First of all, you might not stop her correctly. You've messed up the stop, you haven't killed her momentum, especially if she's walking quite quickly. She thinks you're a charity salesman, she might think you're a mugger, she doesn't know what you want, and she simply doesn't engage in the conversation, she walks off. The second thing you noticed is questions of doom. That means bland chit chat. So you'll go up, you'll give the compliment, and then on autopilot your brain will ask these very mundane, boring, predictable questions. What's your name? What are you doing? Where are you from? What are you up to right now? And obviously that's not flirtation. That's not attractive. That's not generating attraction. The girl's bored.
It's not flirtation, and do you really care? Do you really care? Like, you know, I think people know what they've got to say. It's just that they don't have the balls to say it.
And already it's in kind of friend to friend, nice guy mode. That links to the next biggest problem with street hustling and day game. The guy's too nice. Mr. Nice Guy, he surfaces his head, he's very agreeable, he agrees with everything she says, he wants to please her. And even though logically you might think that that's attractive, you can see already that it's unattractive for the girl. She's not interested, she's not excited, there's no flirtation, there's no banter, there's no chemistry, there's no energy. So the interaction dies after the compliment. The last big thing that you've perhaps noticed already is that second form of approach anxiety. You've gone up, you've given the compliment, you've tried to have a bit of a conversation. Yeah, it's a bit mumbled, speaking too fast, your voice is going up, sounding approval seeking. Yep, you're running out of things to say, so you're asking those really boring questions, but your body also wants to escape. So you're pressing the eject button inside of you, we call it premature ejaculation, and you simply run away. Even if the conversation's going okay, you simply leave. You've got so much adrenaline and you don't know where you are, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to continue. Your body just says eject, 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 and you politely leave.
I had this when I first, you know, started approaching people doing like magic tricks at tables and stuff. You know, I was like, oh, what if They don't like the magic tricks. What if they don't want to see it? What if they let me show them a magic trick, but they figure out how the trick's done? What if they embarrass me by telling everyone how the secret works and all that kind of stuff? So again, I've been through all this. It's just I've been through it so long ago that I've forgotten how bad it can feel.
The conversation. So they are all classic sticking points. And even after watching this video and trying to follow the structure of the London Daygame model, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of what Charlie and Kevin were doing. You need volume of approaches, okay, over a few months to calm this down. This is what structure's for. A bit like when you're driving the car or learning to play tennis or learning to surf. The structure's what gets you going. Of course, after a few months, you can ditch the structure. And when you're very good, you can freestyle. But I'm saying, for now, let's really dive into the 5 steps of the London Daygame model, which evolved to solve precisely those sticking points that you just saw Charlie and Kevin caught up in.
So what we got here, this is the 5-step. Open, stack, vibe, invest, close. Well, I understand open and close. I don't understand stack, vibe and invest. So let's have a look at this. You see, the way that I would do it is I always open with a close. So I don't worry about all those 3 stages in between. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's a very complicated process. I just go up, give a compliment to a girl. If she can receive the compliment, then I know to proceed. Whereas if she can't accept a basic compliment, then I realise... Because again, I think the reason why these guys are nervous is because they're worried about what the girl's thinking about and worrying if they'll accept them or not, as opposed to going up and judging her to see if she's good enough for them. And so you go up and you basically you give them a compliment to see if they can accept a compliment. If they can, that's a good sign. You ask them if they're single, because there's no point in chatting to someone that's got a boyfriend or is married and all that kind of stuff. And if they're single, you ask them out on a date. Oh, yeah, I'll go out for a drink with you. Excellent, yeah. Hand them your phone with WhatsApp and say, pop your number in there and I'll be in touch later. That's it, and then you're off, you leave. So you're not staying there for longer than you need to be and talking shit about things that don't mean anything.
Alright, time to teach Kevin and Charlie and you the London Daygame model. The 5 steps in order. You need to look at each one, get used to doing each one in order because it's a linear thing. Step number 1 is open. Opening the girl. That just means going up to her or stopping her in her tracks and letting her know what you want man to woman. This is not asking for directions or asking a female opinion. We're going to grow some balls. We're going to be direct. That's what we say in game. Direct approaching. We're going to let her know what we want. Nothing extreme, no crazy words like sexy or super fit. Not lying and asking for directions to a store or a piece of advice, but telling her that she looks nice, she looks lovely, she looks beautiful, she looks interesting. Making sure she knows with...
Yeah, basically just decide beforehand, like look at her and think, well, what attracts me to her? And then go up and tell her. That's all you have to do is, like, there's a reason as to why you're attracted to her. Just go up and tell her the reason why you're attracted to her.
Strong eye contact and a twinkling smile and a slow voice, nice and commanding. If she's standing still, it's pretty simple. Even if she's wearing headphones or looking at her phone.
I don't think you have to worry about acting a certain way. If you just chill and relaxed and just be cool, then that'll be fine. You don't have to worry about having twinkling eyes.
We want to get her attention. So rather than just saying, hey, you look nice, we're going to say something before to get her attention. So, hey, I just wanted to say, you look really nice. Okay, we're going to drill her with our eyes. If she's walking, if she's slow walking, we might have to stop her by touching her on the arm, pointing backwards and saying, hey.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch a complete stranger on the arm, walking up to them straight away.
I just saw you over there, and I think you look really nice. Not walking with her, not opening behind her. Both of those things are creepy in big cities, but killing momentum, that means...
Yeah, I did another video with the 2 jacks approaching a girl, and they show you that you approach from the side or from the front.
Big cities, but killing momentum, that means making her stop and then speaking. I call that the karate side stop. Or the one that requires more balls, if she's walking quickly, we're going to wheel in front of her, giving her room to stop. 12 o'clock, eye to eye. We call this the Wheel of Fortune, front stop, full on. It's pretty masculine, and we're going to say, hey, I just had to come and say, you look really nice. That's called the open. So we showed Charlie and Kevin the different stops. We got them used to stopping well. We practiced the eye contact. We practiced the smirk. We practiced the delivery of those kind of words. They're not lines.
You practice the smirk. What is it? Twinkling eyes, twinkling eyes. Blimey.
You can mix them up. It doesn't really matter if you say hey or sorry or excuse me. To be honest, she doesn't even hear the first few words. What really matters is the non-verbals. It's your posture. You're not leaning in. It's a nice, low, slow delivery. It's that cheekiness. She needs to already be smiling when you're going in and saying, hey, I've just got to say something crazy, or I've just got to say something which is going to sound random. You look really nice.
Sorry, excuse me. I just noticed you and I thought you looked very nice.
Thank you.
Hi, excuse me.
Hi.
Hi, I just wanted to say you look very nice today.
Thank you.
Nice.
Sorry, excuse me. I just saw you and I thought you looked very nice. So I had to come and say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, that Londoner guy, Kevin is his name, is it? Yeah, he's doing the full getting right in front of them. The Charlie guy is still kind of going to the side of them a bit, isn't he?
Hi, excuse me. I just wanted to say you look very nice today.
All right, step number 2, the hard one, because step number 1, opening, is pretty easy. The front stop takes a bit of practice, but as you saw, Kevin and Charlie picked it up pretty quick. She knows what you want, then what? This is where it all unravels. If you're freestyling, trying to be yourself, you will have brain freeze. You will run out of things to say, and you will ask those terrible, boring, bland, predictable questions of doom. What's your name? Where are you from? You might pause and she's just going to walk off. She just thought you were coming up to give her a compliment and she's a little bit confused. So we bridge straight into step number 2, which we call stacking. The stack.
What I noticed about you was...
We're going to do the opposite of asking questions. We're not going to make her do any work. We're going to take on the burden. We're going to build the conversational bridge with our own hands. We're not going to be too dull and boring and predictable. Instead of questions, we're going to make observations, or you can call them assumptions. If you're really good, you can make accusations, but that comes later. You need.
I don't think it's a good idea to go in and make accusations and assumptions about someone, unless it's done in like a playful way, but I feel it's a bit unnecessary.
A bit of cheeky charm and banter for that. Okay, what can you observe? Using my golden rule, say what you see. Or if you're really good, say what you see and twist it. That's the accusation bit of it. But if you're a beginner, say what you see. Straight after, I think you look nice. Using the sentence or something similar. What I noticed about you was... Now, if you're in London or New York or a big city, which is international, you can notice where they're from. You can just throw out a guess, like a fisherman throwing out the line. So you'll see Charlie and Kevin do it here. What I noticed about you is you don't look British. I'm going to say Polish. Notice how I...
What's this got to do with asking her out on a date or seeing if she's single? They're the two things I'd do first. Check to make sure she's single, because there's no point in talking to her otherwise. It's just a waste of time. And, you know, if you keep approaching a load of girls in the street, you're just going to be wasting a load of time. So see if she's single, and then if she is single, see if she wants to go out for a date, surely. And then you can find out more about her on the date. You can actually sit and ask her questions about herself, instead of standing there in the middle of the street assuming a load of stuff.
Ask her where she was from. I'm just throwing it out. And she's going to reply anyway. That's the beauty of an observation, an assumption, or an accusation.
I don't like all this. It's based on the idea that you have to do something to get something. Like you have to learn a social skill in order to get a date. And that's not necessarily true. You really can just be honest and just say, I really think you're attractive and I'd like to take you out for a drink sometime. What's wrong with that? She can either say yes or no. You know where you stand then.
If you're in a city where everybody's from that place, you might want to guess her job based on how she's dressed or how she's walking. What I noticed about you is you're all in black. You look like an official lawyer. Or if she's carrying something or she's dressed in a very particular way, you can guess what she's doing right now, or what she's just come from, or what she's going to do. And you'll see Kevin do this. What I noticed about you is your gym attire. You look like you've just come from the gym. Sure, if she's still not responding, you could tag on a mini question. Am I correct? You look like you're from Italy. Am I right? Are you from Italy? You look...
What I noticed about you is that you're trying to run away from me. Am I correct?
Look like a dreamy art student. Am I right? And we're waiting for the girl to respond, which is going to lead us, when we listen to what she said, into step number 3.
I like the whole gothic look and the tattoos and that.
Gothic look, thank you.
Nice. You look very Polish.
I'm Russian actually.
You're actually Russian. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here by.
I see you look going to the gym. You look like you're going to the gym.
I've been.
Oh, you've been?
Yeah.
You look very fit.
Oh, thanks.
You look very French. You're French. Really?
Thank you.
You got a very Mediterranean look about you.
Yeah, I'm Spanish. That's very
Oh, Spanish. It makes sense now.
And if I wanted to take her out on an instant date, like a date then and there, I'd just see what she's up to now. What are you up to at the moment? I'd like to, you know, take you for a coffee or something like that. I've got a bit of free time. I've got 10 minutes to kill. Let's have a drink. So, again, it's nothing. And then you can sit down and get to know somebody over a drink, like a normal person, instead of trying to sort of like make all these false accusations about them in the middle of the street.
All right, that was step number 2. And as you can see, as a beginner, you can keep it nice and basic. Where she's from, what she's doing, or what her job is. Nothing too fancy. As you get good, like I said, with your increased powers of observation, you'll be more in the moment, you'll see more things, you'll be able to be a bit more witty, a bit more quick, a bit more sharp, a bit more cutting. So you can make them more spontaneous, more tailored, more interesting, but that will all come. In the beginning, just stick to a basic framework. The most important thing is you listen to the answer, because this is taking us to step number 3, which we call vibing. Now, you're going to vibe, which just means
Where
have a
are
back
you
and
from?
forth bit of banter about what she just said. And a classic common student mistake is they didn't listen to anything she said because you're so full of adrenaline and anxiety. So that's why the more you do, the calmer you'll be. Structure helps for this, and you can listen to what she said. So she might say really where she's from. She might say really what she does. She might tell you what she's really up to right now, and you have to listen. And this is where we find out if the person is an experienced day gamer or a beginner. This is really where the...
Ask somebody a question and then listen, except he's not doing it as ask a question, it's doing it as make an observation, which is essentially the same kind of a thing. You're throwing out a topic there to be discussed. And then you listen to the answer, and then you go along with that. I mean, it's very basic stuff.
Rubber meets the road. A great day gamer will be fantastic at taking that topic and running with it. Again, she shouldn't be doing any of the work here. This is still attraction. You're taking responsibility. You stopped her, and you've got to display your personality, all right? Not bland, not boring, but flirtatious, fun, interesting, unusual, quirky, surreal, etc. A good day gamer will listen to the topic.
Yeah, you see, again, I wouldn't worry how I'm coming across, because I don't bother thinking for her. I only ever think about what I think of me. So I don't care how I'm coming across, so I can be more concerned with what I want to say and listening to what she has to say. I don't want to be preoccupied with surface level stuff about, you know, oh, what will she think if I say this or do that, or were my eyes twinkling enough, or did I smirk at the right time? It's just like over-analysis of your own behaviour. I don't think it's healthy.
And he'll go off on a story about that topic. Often it will have to be improvised. It will be full of teasing. It will have some challenging in there. A great day gamer will have some role play in there. Even if he knows nothing about what she just said, he will build it out of thin air. It's a bit like somebody on the stage, a public speaker, getting a topic and being able to run with it. No, you don't want to be a stand-up comedian.
I was going to say, it sounds a lot like improv, like street improvisation or something like that. Again, it just sounds like a lot of hard work.
Because this is flirtation, this is not stand-up comedy, but it does involve those elements of quick thinking, improvisation, you doing the work, until we reach the magic point of the interaction called the hook point, which is just when the girl likes you enough to ask you a question. She starts to do a bit of investing. Usually the girl will say, where are you from? Or what do you do? Or she'll introduce herself to you. So how do you get good?
Yeah, I think that's it's a social hook point, isn't it? And if they touch you, that's a sexual hook point, if I'm not wrong. And so, yeah, so they're good indicators of interest.
Listening to what she says and unpacking it. You need some structure, surprise, surprise. And the structure we usually teach students is to use the opening sentence. When I think of X, I think of Y. Or my friend went to X, or my friend is an X, and he said that Y. That gives you enough time to slow down and think about what's coming next. So let's say she says France. You've guessed she's from Italy. She says, no, I'm from France. Listen to the topic. That's the topic, France. You say, when I think of France, I think of... Now, the common mistake is to be boring and talk about the population or the religion, politics or news, or just be very agreeable and say, wow, I love France, you know. I went there last year, my sister's there at the moment, what a great country. That's not attraction. Attraction, remember, if you've seen my other material, if you've got Street Hustle, attraction's breaking rapport, making fun of her lightly with a smile on your face so she knows it, okay? Challenging her with a smile on your face, being a bit silly, using cliches, using stereotypes. So you might say, when I think of France, I think of you. Remember, that's her favourite subject, herself. I think of you on a bicycle with a baguette under your arm, singing the Song of Independence. It's such a cute image, you know. I imagine you as Amélie Poulain. I remember that French film. Is that really what you do? Yeah, it's a stereotype. Yeah, it's a cliche. But what we want is for her to be interested enough to respond.
Oh, the
Jesus Christ.
States. When I think of the States, I think of you in New York, California.
Yeah, Jamaican. So you like smoke the reefer? I'm guessing.
I'm only a quarter.
Oh, only a quarter. So you smoke it part of the time, not all the time then?
No, not all the time.
Okay, that's fine.
When I think of South Africa, I think of tigers and lions and that.
Everyone thinks it's very rural. It's not that rural.
You totally don't look South African. You look
Really?
European. European.
So when I think of French, I think of like croissants and Eiffel Tower and drinking wine. Do you drink?
Remember to listen out for that all-important moment when you're telling your story, when you're vibing. Hook point, that's when she's going to interrupt your story or contribute, and she's going to ask you a question.
Like, what the fuck are you doing here?
A South African London girl now.
Yes, yeah, in between. Where in London are you about?
I'm from North London, Tottenham, North London.
What's your name?
Charlie.
That's sweet, Charlie.
That's sweet. Sorry?
Orca?
Orca.
Yeah,
Okay.
U-L-K-A-R, not like the word.
Okay.
Okay, with hook point, that's the end really of step number 3. It's the end of the flirtatious, playful, surreal storytelling.
Very surreal.
Banter. It's now time to move into step number 4, dial things down, lower energy, keeping it real, and most importantly, getting her to do some work, because you've been working hard for 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes.
Yeah, you need a fucking break. I mean, this is like a boxing match. You need to get some fucking water in your corner and just have your coach cut you a little bit.
3, maybe 4 minutes. You've opened her. That's step number 1. Number 2, you've made some observations or accusations.
Yeah, you look like a burglar.
Number 3, the big one, you've told a story about what she just said. That's the vibing. She's shown some interest, and it should be like a flashing light. Hook point means change gear. Get her doing some work. Get her to invest. That's why it's called investment. Not with closed questions like, how long have you lived in Manchester? That's just a one-word, boring answer, very black and white masculine question. We want to ask her
Also, do you really care?
some female-friendly, open questions. Get her doing the work. So, why did you move from Paris to London? Or what's the best thing about living in Chicago? Or what do you do for fun when you're not being a nurse?
Yeah, I agree with those.
Getting her doing the work. Also, you're doing something which I call grounding, which means telling her a little bit about you, keeping it real. She's been telling you some stuff about her, so you can tell her some stuff about you. Basics, what you do, where you're from, what kind of a guy you are, just so she walks away after you've got her number or you've taken her for a coffee and she thinks, yeah, Tom was a real guy. He was fun and flirty and brave, and he came up to me. He definitely wants to date me. It was man to woman, but he's a real guy. He's not a cheesy pickup artist. He's not a street entertainer. He's a real guy. So you should stay in this phase of investment for another 2, 3, 4 minutes, keeping it real. Because again, if you just take a number at this point and run away, it's too short, and the number's gonna flake. We say that means she's not going to text you back, which is disheartening. So keep it real. After the hook point, time to move into investment. Let's have a look at it in action.
I'm from Brighton. I just came up for the day. Yeah.
I just went to see for the other day.
That's very close to Brighton.
Yeah, just to see like
Seven Sisters. Yeah, it's nearby. Yeah. It's not too bad. Have you been to Brighton then before? Or?
I used to study there, like in summer courses, like English courses.
Yeah.
In Brighton College. So that was ages ago, like 10 years ago. So
10 years ago. Wow.
I remember, yeah.
What's your name?
I'm Mika.
I'm Kevin.
Nice to meet you.
What are you doing in London?
I moved here about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, actually in Guildford. But I work between school and
Okay.
pushing around, meeting some friends.
You enjoying it in London?
Love it. Love it. I was here last year for 2 months as well.
Okay.
No.
So I'm an original London boy.
Oh, lovely. I'm jealous.
You're jealous?
But I'm telling you, visas is a mission. But it's fine. We're getting there. It's a process.
Yeah?
But it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, she's been investing long enough. It's now been 6, 7, 8 minutes. That's a good time frame to aim for if you're an experienced day gamer, to stop the number flaking. Remember, a short interaction
What if like she's on the way to work or something and she don't want to be late or whatever?
will lead to flakes. She's invested enough. You're going to be the one to end it first. You're going to say, listen, you got to go, I got to go, but another time I would like to invite you out. I think you're very attractive.
There we go. That's exactly what I'd do from the beginning.
How do I spell your name? Or what's your number? You say as you pull out your phone and you take her details. You do not give her your phone number. You do not give her a business card. You do not lie to her and say you're going to teach her English or show her around the city like her best friend. No, remind her what...
Yeah, I forgot that guys do that. They pretend to, I don't know, do something other than want to date them.
you want, man to woman. We say open strong, step number 1, and close strong, step number 5. So she's in no doubt about what this is, okay? It's not just a friendly chit-chat. This is man to woman. I am attracted to you. If she says she's not going to give you her phone number, a cheeky trick is to take her phone, put in your number, and give yourself a missed call. That's quite cheeky. Some girls will say no to the number, maybe she...
Yeah, I don't like that. I prefer them to want to give me the number. Like, I mean, that's why you agree to meet up with the date first. No, let's go out for a drink sometime. Yeah, oh, that sounds great. Okay, cool, give me your number. Oh, actually, I don't feel comfortable giving my number. Okay, that's cool. Either just leave it there and walk away and just say goodbye, take care of yourself, or get them on Instagram or something.
She hasn't got a new SIM card for that country, or she's seeing somebody, she doesn't want you texting. Plan B, take something on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, I've even done Instagram Messenger. Yes, it can get you laid. It's not as good as the number, it's not as good for your confidence as well, but Facebook, etc. is plan B, and you run the same kind of text game as I talk about in Street Hustle on that social media. The important thing is you get some contact details so you can take it further. We call that step number 5, closing, or the close. Watch Charlie and Kevin trying it.
Another time, if you're not busy, I'd like to take you out for a coffee.
Okay.
Yeah? Do you have a number?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, how about we change details if you're up for it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Don't have a phone right now.
Do you have a phone? Do you know your number?
Yeah.
Okay, one sec.
999.
I lost my phone last week actually, so
Great.
it's not being good.
So bad.
Alright.
Okay.
It was lovely to
Another
meet
time,
you.
do you want to go for a coffee or something?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me take your number.
Sure, I won't have a new number, I don't know what.
Okay.
Do you want to change details? Yeah. Sure.
You're very brave for coming.
I know, I am. I'm in a brave mood today, I don't know why.
Don't need to be nervous.
Steps numbers 1 through 5 completed. Fantastic. That is a great place to be in. You can open, you can stack, you can vibe, you know what the hook point is, you can...
Yeah, I would literally just open with a close and just skip the stack, the vibe, and invest. And if you can just get 10 numbers, one of them will work out right for you. So it is a numbers game to some extent. So as long as you just have the balls and the courage to go up to somebody and be honest with them, that should be enough. Like all this other stuff in between is like making you believe that you need to have improvisational skills when that's not necessarily true. It's a lot of work to do.
And you can close. That means you've got leads. We call phone numbers and Facebook's leads. You're spinning multiple plates. You've got an abundance of contact details. That stops you being needy. Some of them will flake. That means they won't reply. Some of them will. Some of them you'll text back and forth, get them out on a date, run the dating model that's in Street Hustle. Some of the time it will be successful, some of the time it won't be. That's just the name of the game. Like some girls you...
Yeah, I agree with a lot of this. It's very down to earth, good advice. Again, I'll just skip the 3 stages in between the open and the close.
Stop. Some girls you can't. Some girls are yes, we say. Some girls are no. Some girls are maybe. That's the name of the game as well. But we're putting our best foot forward, okay? We're not just relying on luck, but we've got some skill in there. We've got some structure in there. And after a while, like I said, you can drop this scaffolding and you can do your own thing. You can find your own strengths. You can see what works for you. You'll be freestyling and improvising. You'll feel a lot more in the moment. But this will get you through the painful first few months where you're having all those classic sticking points that you saw Charlie and Kevin facing. They did it pretty rapidly. Remember, we were only out with Charlie and Kevin for a couple of days and they got to the point where they could do basic stacks, basic vibing, they could get the hook point, they could get contact details.
You see, I've forgotten what stack and vibe mean already. That's terrible, isn't it? I told you I got a bad memory.
They could get contact details. And because they did so well, we said, let's take it up a notch and let's try, instead of phone numbers, let's try going for instant dates, which means taking her then and there for a coffee. It saves all that texting. It's good for beginners because you can practice a bit of conversation and date game and spicing things up, spiking it up, I say. So rather than getting addicted to collecting phone numbers, which is a very common problem, validation from phone.
Yeah, I've done instant dates before during the day, and I find it is better to get the phone number and just have the date in the evening. It's got more of a romantic vibe as opposed to a platonic friend-to-friend vibe.
Numbers. Let's try to get an instant date. That's what we said to Charlie and Kevin. And what do you know, on film, back to back and in the same coffee shop, Charlie got the first instant date and then Kevin got the second. So I'm going to show you the interactions on the street and a bit of the coffee shop. They're not perfect interactions, but remember, these guys have only been doing it for a couple of days. But look what's achievable. From their very nervous beginnings to the end of their session, they finished on these instant dates. So I'll annotate what's going on, but massive congratulations and thanks to Charlie and Kevin, who were the guinea pigs to help you on this journey as well. Look at what they achieved.
Excuse me, I just wanted to say I thought you look very cute.
Sorry?
I wanted to say you look very nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
You too?
Oh, thank you. You look very Brazilian.
Sorry?
Are you from Brazil?
No.
You look very Brazilian.
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah. What's it like in Switzerland then? Is it like, because I had a friend who went to Switzerland last year and he said like at night time everyone just drinks like crazy and goes nuts.
Drinks?
Drinks.
Drinks are crazy?
Yeah.
Why?
Just like Swiss girls are like crazy.
Okay, well.
Is that true?
No, I don't think so.
You're not crazy then?
Quite normal.
You're just a normal Swiss girl. That's good to know.
So what's your name?
Charlie.
Magdalena.
Magdalena, that's a lovely name.
And you live here or?
I'm from Brighton.
Brighton. I've been there for a language trip like
oh really?
5 years ago.
Yeah. I came up to London during the day actually. Like
Sorry?
I came this weekend to London.
Just for a weekend?
Yeah, just like a little trip with some friends.
And you're alone? Or?
At the moment, yeah. So I'm just like out. It's just kind of random, but do you want to go for a coffee or something?
Actually, I'm very, how to say, I wanted to buy some drinks right now because I'm very, how do you say that?
Yeah, drinks.
Yeah, but I'm
thirsty.
No, if you want to drink something, you feel like...
I don't know.
I forgot the word, but maybe we can go for water.
Yeah, sure. Oh, you mean like, yeah, sure. I think there's a Pret down there. You go there. Do you want to go?
Very funny too.
Sorry?
You're very open, like.
I know.
Are you talking to people like that or no?
If I see a pretty girl, I have to go and talk to them. That's the rule. So yeah.
You see, he could have just gone in without calling her crazy and guessing where she's from and all that kind of stuff. He could have just gone in and said, oh, I'm here in London for a bit. Do you fancy going for a drink? You seem like a nice person. Let's go for a coffee, quick coffee for 10 minutes or whatever. Get to know each other. There's nothing wrong with that. You see, it would have been just as good. And look, you can see that The social hook point is basically when she's taking over control of the interaction and she's kind of like leading the relationship a little bit. But look, as nervous as he was, it worked. He took her for a little instant date. That's bloody brilliant. Well done, mate.
There he is. I'm gonna meet her later.
You're gonna meet her later? Good.
Sorry, excuse me, and that's a bit random. I just saw you, and I thought you looked very dreamy, walking around. You got very...
You see, dreamy is a very unique compliment. You see, that's the kind of compliment that I like. Pay somebody a compliment that is unique to them.
Scandinavian look about you.
Oh, thank you.
Where are you from?
Poland.
Paris?
Poland.
Sorry?
Poland.
Oh, Poland. Okay.
It's not as cool as Paris.
Oh, well, it's still nice. What? Where is it Krakow?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never been. Seems like a very nice place. When I think of Poland, I think of nice people, nice food, nice weather.
Everything's nice.
Have you been to Poland at all?
No, I haven't, unfortunately.
It's okay.
What are you doing in London?
I'm studying
Okay, studying what?
animation.
Well,
What do you do?
I'm a sound engineer.
Sound engineer?
Yeah, in music and stuff, doing drum and bass.
Alright.
So yeah.
Work for yourself? Or?
Yeah, I work for myself, yeah, in my own little studio and that.
Cool.
What's your name?
Veronica.
Veronica. Nice to meet you, Veronica.
Nice to meet you too. What's your name?
My name's Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Listen, I've got to go and see my mates in a little while.
Yeah.
So, would you like to come for a coffee?
With
A
you
quick
guys?
coffee? Just with me?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
Let's go. We'll go up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What a lovely little interaction that was. Oh, I feel like having coffee and cake now.
Amazing stuff that can be achieved in only 2 days. Remember, you've got to go out there and try it. Don't just be a keyboard pickup artist, a keyboard activist, but the game is played in field.
A keyboard pickup artist, a keyboard activist.
90% talking to girls, 10% theory. If you want the full Torero toolkit, that full 10%, check out my hardback textbook, The Bible for Street Hustling, Street Hustle. It's the Daygame
It's a lot to learn, isn't it?
toolkit that goes over what we spoke about today. It goes over texting, it goes over dating, it goes over relationships. All my tricks and techniques are in there. Find it on my website, tomtorero.com, along with all my other material.
Yeah, go check out Tom Torero's products and also check out my product. If you're doing online dating, I'll tell you exactly what to message a girl in order to get more dates. See the link in the description below.
Thank you to Craig, who was assisting that weekend. He was coaching, he was a cameraman. Cheers to Charlie and Kevin, and thank you for watching this introductory video.
Yeah, well done to Charlie and Kevin. It took a lot of balls to do that.
Oh, may the force be with you. Grab life by the horns. Go out and try it and let me know how you get on.
Look, there's no stopping them now. Yep, all looks very good. I like Tom Torero, very good.